Salve YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Game Knowledge for Total War Rome 2. This is a series that's going to show you guys some little tips and tricks for microing and controlling your units and army, and allow you to be a better Total War player. At this battle in particular, we're going to look at how to group your units in your army. In my previous episode, I showed you guys a little bit of hotkeys and a little bit of the grouping mechanics and how they work in Total War Rome 2, so check that video out if you haven't seen it. In this video, we're going to talk about lining your troops up and assigning numbers to each one of your groups so you can control your army properly. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up one of my Carthage builds. I don't know if I have it here. Here we go, yep, it's this one. This is my 4 elephant build for Carthage. It's 1 noble cav, 4 Libyan infantry, 4 Libyan peltasts, 2 African war elephants, 2 African elephants, and 6 late Carthaginian hoplites. We're gonna make our opponent an Arverni guy. It doesn't really matter what they have, because I'm just really going to show you how I line an army up like this. And of course, this is specific to this army, and there are going to be different ways you can do this for different armies, but the core concepts are going to be the same and going to remain unchanged, basically for any army that you use. So I'll probably do one more after this and bring some proper archers or long-range units so I can show you how at least I do it, and I think it's a way that works pretty well. So the main rule of thumb here is that you want your number keys, so your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, to represent groups of units that you control, and you want them to also map nicely to where exactly your units are on the battlefield. And I know this is a little bit difficult to understand, but we're going to take a look at this very soon. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to determine what the shape of our army is going to look like. So for me, I'm going to put my hoplites here in one formation. Notice I'm not grouping yet. Right now, I'm just aligning my army and making sure that I know how I want them to line up. So I want these 6 to be the core in the middle. I want my Libyans. I want 2 of them here. And I also want 2 of them here. So we're going to do that. So now we've got, you know, flanking units, supporting units on the flank, the main core. And then I'm going to go ahead and put 2 of... Oh, there's a hill here, but ignore the hill. Again, it doesn't really matter what the result of the battle is. So as you can see, I've lined up the way I want. I've got my lightest troops on the outside, my medium mobile infantry with swords here, and my hoplites in the middle. So that's pretty standard. I'm going to put my general here, and then let's take these heavy elephants here. So there you go. I've done what I've basically needed to do. Well, I'll tell you a little bit more about the elephants soon. So here's my army. It's lined up like this. Now I'm always gonna be in this view, and if you notice that I can move my camera really high, this is because I've used the debug camera. And if you don't know how to do this, I'm gonna leave a link in the description so that you can unlock your camera like this, and you can go and play like usually. Maybe on a map like this because it's nice and flat. I'll actually play maybe in a view like that, so I can still select units pretty quickly and comfortably without... See, I can, like, let's say I want the first 2 here, maybe the medium 2 or the left 2. Oh, see, I'll zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So that looks pretty good for me. So that'll probably be the way I play it. So left to right is usually how I'll start grouping. So I'll select these guys. These are 2 separate, like they're one separate entity, and I'll hit G, and then I'll go next and hit G. Now I want this thing, I don't want it to all be like, if I do this, for example, and select G, I'm gonna be limited. Like, let's say I engage my opponent and I want like maybe some of them to veer one way and one the other. I'm gonna be limited. So what I usually do is I split my core of 6 units into either 2 groups like this, or sometimes I'll even do this. So let me ungroup all of them. Sometimes I'll do this, and I'll create 3 groups of 2. Usually, though, I would not recommend doing this for pike or hoplite units. I would definitely recommend having pike and hoplite units at least in 3 groups, or maybe 4 if you're doing, you know, not 6 units. Like, let's say you have 4 units at once. They would behave nicely as one group. If they were sword units, I would definitely put each 2 in one group. So we'll keep going down the line, and we'll keep giving groups. And now notice how the army has lined up properly and nicely. I know that if I hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's basically going to walk from left to right on my army. That's going to basically mean if I'm fighting on this side of the battlefield, I'm going to know that I'm going to be using 1, 2, 3. And if I'm fighting on this side of the battlefield, I know I'm going to be using 4, 5, 6. And that's going to allow me to quickly move my units the way I want. So now let's talk about the elephants, and usually elephants you can probably replace them with cavalry for other factions other than Carthage. I never group my general, and you'll see in a minute here that my general is actually going to go way at the end of the army here very soon. So let's take a look at the elephants. So we've got this guy over here on the far left. I'll just move him to the left. And I think you can't actually move to the left, you have to, yeah, see. So I'll move, so this guy to the left, this guy is here, so he goes there. This guy is next. There you go. So now I know that the elephants, the way they're lined up on my cards, are the same that the way that they're lined up on the battlefield. And that's going to help me a lot. That's going to allow me to, you know, if I'm fighting here real quickly and I see my elephant far, I don't have to go all the way and click it. While I'm here, I know that it's that elephant, and I can then issue a command or attack order and maybe save myself a situation. So that was, for example, for an army like this. Let's move to another kind of army and maybe just see one more example of how I would line up, let's say, a sword-based army, like maybe Arverni here. So let's go with Arverni. We'll give the opponent whatever, doesn't really matter. So let's go with a very, very stable, basic Arverni build. I'll go with 2 Spear Nobles. I'll go with 7 Oathsworns. And maybe I'll go ahead and grab a couple of heavy horse and a couple of noble horse. That's pretty damn standard for Arverni. I'll go with a commander general, and let's get right into it. Did Epirus pick something? Yeah, Epirus picked something. So let me show you how I'd line this army up. Again, the same kind of themes and the same kind of idea of approaching how you're going to line up your troops is going to follow from one army to the other, and it's just going to facilitate you moving your troops easier. So here they are again. So I'm going to keep my Spear Nobles, I'm going to have 1 on each flank here, and over time you're going to pick up speed on this. You're going to start doing this very quickly, and as you can see here, I'm going to do it very, very fast, and you'll see how effective this can really be. So there we go. That is it. I'm done. Notice how everything is, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But this probably shouldn't be grouped again because he's my general. And the fact that I don't group my general, some people might be like, oh, but then you need to group your general because otherwise, you know, you won't be able to control. But actually, if you don't group your general, you see him easier in the middle of the battle, and he has this star and he's on his own all the way on the right. It's easier to just click that and do the ability. If you put him at the start, you have to click there and drag all the way to ability if you don't have your abilities hotkeyed. And even though I have my abilities hotkeyed, sometimes it's just quicker to go bam, bam, hit ability and be done with it. And when I'm fighting, I'll have the ability to move each one of these guys separately. So even though I look like a strong line, you can see I've got a big, big capability of being able to maneuver my main core in these little kind of pockets and groups of units. So that's basically what this video was going to be about, grouping up your army in a line and being able to have them nicely lined up on your unit card interface so that you can give your units the quickest commands possible. If you guys got any suggestions as to maybe what you do when you play your battles, please do let me know, and I'll try to mention them in the next episode of Game Knowledge. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.